Welcome to The Valley's Voice, Arizona Live's Legal Truths.
Hello and welcome to The Valley's Voice, Arizona Lives and Legal Truths. I'm your host, Travis Meltzer, founder and managing attorney at Valley Injury Law. Today on The Valley's Voice, we're joined by someone who helps Valley residents navigate one of the most important decisions they'll ever make, buying or selling a home. Steve Russell is a trusted real estate professional known for guiding clients through complex transactions with clarity, strategy, and a steady hand. In a market shaped by rapid change, big financial stakes, and emotional decisions, Steve brings perspective that goes beyond the listing price. Today, we're talking about what's really happening in the Valley real estate market, common mistakes buyers and sellers make, and how people can protect themselves while making smart long-term decisions. Steve, thank you so much for coming.
Travis, thanks, man. That was a fantastic intro. Did you have my mom write that? That was pretty good. Pretty good.
Hers was a little delayed. I had ChatGPT help me out a little bit, and
I was going to say, you make me sound professional, educated. I mean, that was well done. So thank you, bud. Appreciate that.
No, of course. I'll send you a copy of it so you can put it on your profile.
I was going to say, that's my new bio right there. I'll just take that to the bio. Thank you, bud.
Anytime. That's my other job. I just write people's bios.
There you go. Happy to be here, flattered, and thanks for the invite.
No, of course. No, I really appreciate it. So, before we get into real estate and the Valley, tell me, how'd you get into real estate and what originally attracted you to that industry?
So, it was 2006, actually more like 2005, actually 20 years ago. I am working in Tampa, Florida, and we can discuss my life before real estate. I was in broadcast television. I was a sportscaster and a newscaster for about 15 years. And I was getting a little burned out from the TV life. And I was, working in Tampa, Florida. I was the morning reporter, which means, when you wake up and you see that reporter out there before you head off to work, they're at some story that happened overnight. That was me. I'd wake up at 2:00 in the morning. I'd be at, shave, put the suit on at this TV station by 5:00, and my day would end till noon. And then I would get home and, I would have to be in bed by literally 6:00 at night, 7:00 at night, to get at least 6-7 hours before doing it all over again, having to do that 5 days a week. So that was a very draining schedule in my life. Yeah. And at the same time, a high school friend of mine was bugging me about getting into real estate. And he knew to bug me. And finally I just said, okay, in 2007, I said, all right, I'm expanding into the Phoenix area in real estate, commercial at the time. And I said, okay, I'm doing it. So I packed up the Honda CRV in 2007, and don't be jealous about the Honda CRV, and drove from Tampa and called Phoenix home. And I did commercial. I got my real estate license, obviously, and then I did 2 years of commercial. And I've done, the past, 17, 18 years of 17 years of residential real estate. So that's quick capsule as to how I got into this.
No, that's amazing. And I mean, was there a moment early on that you realized that change and the travel in the CRV was the right choice?
You know what? Yeah. Number one, there was something called sleep. Travis, I'll never forget. I remember getting to San Antonio and getting dinner at oh my gosh, what am I blanking on? What is the river? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Anyway, the San Antonio, it's known for. Anyway, and I came back and I remember I slept for like 14 hours. It was like the longest I slept in years. And I remember coming into Phoenix and not being on a schedule. And I just remember, like, this is going to be different because you're going to create your own schedule. You're not working for anybody. You are working for yourself. And so that was an interesting change. I should say, before I got into this, I did consult my father, and one of his best friends from high school is a very successful commercial real estate agent in my hometown of St. Paul, Minnesota. And he really pushed me. He's like, you're going to love this. You'll be very good at it. You've got the personality. You've got the drive. You should do it. So I knew, like, on that drive that, you've got to be self-sufficient. You got to do your own drive. I mean, as as an attorney yourself, you really have to, have to get your own business. So,
Yeah.
um, but I was ready. I was ready for a change. I was ready not to have to literally punch a time clock and do
Yeah.
this on my own. So,
No, it's amazing. I mean, I think even for me, I mean, the freedom of just the freedom, I could end that statement there, is
yes,
an incredible
absolutely.
feeling. Yeah. And when you can make money, I mean that, there's that what's that saying, find something you love and call it a job. And I think you found it and it fits your personality incredibly. And I know as your friend, also it's just it's exactly what you should be. And yeah, it's incredible to watch you work.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. No, you're right. That's freedom, and that was a big part of it. And but you know what? The other thing I learned is right, is when you have that freedom, you have nobody else but you to rein in that freedom. So
Yep.
you've got. I mean, seriously, you have to create your own schedule. You've got
Yeah.
it, and you know this as well. You have freedom at the same time you learn self discipline
Yep.
and self motivation. You don't have anybody, and well, the motivation really is, hey, you have got whatever you want to eat, you've got to hunt. And
Yep.
so I became a hunter and a fisherman to go catch that fish. So that's the other thing, as opposed to just showing up at work and naturally that paycheck shows up at the office every 2 weeks. Where this
Yep.
is like, if you would like to get paid, you have to create your opportunities to get paid. But
Yep.
it's a challenge that I was ready for, and I'm still doing it, and I love it. And so, but you learn a lot about yourself when you're your own entrepreneur, when you are
Yeah.
self-employed, and you know that as well.
I do. Yeah, for better or for worse, I completely
Exactly.
no, I do. And and in looking at the real estate environment, particularly where we're at, in Phoenix, Arizona, how would you describe, where the Valley's real estate market is right now?
Right now, we are still very much in a buyer's market. The last couple of years, let me just, not to bore your audience, but too much.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, real estate. I like to joke that I'm in a brand new industry out here called real estate. But like 4 years ago, in 22, 4 or 5 years ago, when interest rates were just, in the 2%, 3%, it was literally considered free money. So many people were, hey, we have to buy a house
Yeah.
because we are leaving money on the table. So there's a huge rush, not only in Arizona but across the country. So everybody was going crazy, and they were buying stuff that was well overvalued just to say they got into a house, and people were putting down more money than they needed to, and they were overpaying for houses, but they just didn't want to turn down those great interest rates. So now, turn a couple of years later, we have a combination of, oh, everyone has got these great interest rates, and nobody really wants to move. And so the other thing with everyone was overbuying, the prices of the houses went up, and that caused inflation. So as you very well know, in the last 2 years, we were up to 9% of an inflation rate. Now we're down to 2, but we still have a situation with interest rates. They were going up as high sevens and 8%. And if you're sitting there with a 3% interest rate, why would you want to go buy a house with a 8% interest rate? So long story short, right now, interest rates have dropped and they're becoming steady. So for the buyers who are out there, they are still getting better deals because you've got sellers who really want to sell. And so when there are a few buyers out there, sellers are willing to make concessions to sell their house. So right now, it's still definitely a buyer's market. But once more buyers get motivated by I think when you see interest rates get steady, in 2026, we're going to see lower interest rates, and they're going to get steady right around, I think, the high 5%, low 6%. And that motivates buyers to get out there. Once they see that there's no real volatility with interest rates, they're going to get out there. And so once you have more buyers out there, guess what? It becomes a seller's market. So I think it's going to become more of a seller's market towards in about 5, 6 months. But right now, it's still a buyer's market because we do have a lot of inventory,
Yeah.
but very few buyers. So to attract those buyers to buy your house, sellers are willing to make to have lower prices and to make what we call seller concessions to the buyers. So that would be my tip. If you are in the position to buy, it is a great time to buy a house in the greater Phoenix area because you've got a very good chance to get a good deal. And here's the other thing: you can get locked into that 6% rate.
Right.
Those interest rates will drop down, possibly back down to 5, maybe 4.5. You can refinance in a couple
Right.
of years. But I don't think, Travis, we're going to see the interest rates we saw some 5 years ago
Yeah.
at 3% or high 2%. I just don't see that happening. So
Yeah.
that's a very long answer to a short question, but I see it right now. It's definitely an advantage right now if you're a buyer looking to buy a house in the greater Phoenix area as opposed to selling. So
Yeah. So, hey, good news is people are moving here all the time. So it's always, it's nice to
it
see.
is unbelievable. The state of Arizona is a huge benefit to be the neighbor of California. I mean,
Yeah.
we hear it all the time: California, high taxes,
Yep.
population. We are still seeing this state still draws some, 200,000 people a month, or
Okay.
20,000 people a month, I should say, moving here for
Yeah.
various reasons. We've got great weather. We've got lower taxes. We've got the space. And a lot of companies are moving here and they're hiring. So
Yeah.
Arizona is truly a bubble.
Yeah.
When I say that, it's like we are very unique. Is that we attract a lot of companies. Companies need employees. We obviously attract the people who are of the older community who want to retire. They
Yep.
want to get out of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Montana, Washington, and come and retire in warmer weather.
Yep.
And lastly, one thing we benefit as opposed to Florida and California, we don't have hurricanes. We don't have the biggest thing we have is a haboob coming through, a
Yeah.
dust storm. But it's nice that we don't have tornadoes really. We don't have hurricanes. We don't have
Mhm.
tropical storms. So that's a huge advantage for wanting to move to Arizona.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the community's been growing for a really long time, and prior to COVID was arguably the fastest growing city in the country. And now that it's kind of going post COVID, it's been a great growth that the city has really seen. And
You
so,
are correct.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And so with real estate, much like what I do as an attorney, a big part of what you are doing is advocating and negotiating on behalf of your client. Now, what does, in your mind, strong advocacy look like for a real estate agent, particularly when you're representing a client?
That's a great question, which was unexpected from you. Um, it is, what makes me, I think, is a really good real estate agent is I really understand what my client wants and what they're trying to accomplish. And I bring that to the table with the other agent. I mean, you kind of, I'm going to guess that you kind of do the same thing is that you've got a client who have got goals and you want the other side to see what they're trying to get and kind of come in the middle.
Yep.
I'm very much the same way. And so I'm all about negotiation and I know what my client's goals are and I really kind of massage it. And I mean, I set expectations of like, hey, we're not going to get this, but can you live with this? And oftentimes when I am dealing with, working with another agent on the other side, I ask them like, what are the goals of your client? What would make it a win for them?
Yep.
And I tell them this would make it a win for my clients. So we both bring both wins to the table. And if we can accomplish, if they've got 3 wins on their side, 3 on there, and we can get 2 of the 3 for both of us,
Yep.
then that's a deal. So I come from a place, we've heard the phrase, you attract more bees with honey as opposed to vinegar.
Yep.
I come with a place of I'm not going to be I'm not going to be contentious. I'm not trying to, bully the other side. I want it a win for both sides. And that goes a long way because you're dealing with it's a 30, 45-day escrow and you want to keep the deal going. So you're constantly negotiating and constantly wanting to make sure both sides feel like they're getting something and they feel like they're not being pushed over. They're not getting the short end of the stick. So that's what I think I do well as an agent. And honestly, this is horrible to say, but I get complimented by the other side at the end of the transaction. They go, I really wish I could do more deals with you because I like how you negotiate
Yeah.
and you wanted to have a win for both sides. Because let's be honest, Travis, they want to sell, and one person wants to sell the house, the other side wants to buy the house. It's
Yeah.
that simple.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a great starting point. So why don't we just keep that in mind during the entire negotiation process?
Yeah. No, completely agree. And I think that's a lot of what I do too. And, ultimately what it comes down to is
Absolutely.
honesty with your clients and setting those expectations. And I think you as an advocate have the duty, and so do I, to do that, to be honest with your client, good or bad, when identifying the needs of that client. So,
And when you're honest with your client, and not to interrupt, I was going to say, when you're
yeah,
honest with your client, it goes a long way because especially, for example, the quickest story I can give, the example is if a client wants to sell their house at this price and I just know they're not going to get it because of the market, I tell them we're not
mhm,
going to get it. So I recommend that let's talk in 6 months. Or if you would like to hire somebody else, they're going to tell you the price they want, but you know what? You're just not going to get it. So, and
mhm,
I'm just not going to tell you that, oh yeah, let's put it at that price. I know we can get it when you just know they're not. And
yeah,
that's where my clients really appreciate my candidness and my honesty.
yeah.
And so it's a cliche, but honesty is the best policy. It really
Oh,
is. And
it
so,
absolutely is. And especially in crowded markets like mine and yours,
yes.
I think honesty, not I think, I know honesty is refreshing for clients and potential clients because they're getting blasted with billboards in my industry and even in your industry. But everybody knows real estate agent, everybody knows personal injury attorney. But ultimately, what it comes down to is, are you going to advocate most appropriately for your clients, but also honestly? And I think
No,
that's
and I've known you for a while, and I can tell how good you are as an attorney because that approach, you are a very honest attorney and you're very good at what you do. So
appreciate it.
you and I work very similar in
Yeah,
that respect. Is
yeah,
that I mean, you want what's best for your client. You want to take care of them as best to your ability, which is a pretty good ability. But at the same time, you're just honest and go, look, this is what we're looking at,
yeah,
and this is going to be the best thing for you, and this is the best. These are the best aspects. This is the best results we can get. And
yeah.
so, and you're a very honest broker as well.
Yeah, no. Well, I appreciate you saying that. And I think too, it's always difficult to identify what the client wants without asking, which sounds silly to say, but a lot of people don't. They just hear the client and say, "All right, great, we'll move on." I see it in my industry all the time. I'm sure you do too. But why is it dangerous for clients or potential clients to rely on online advice as opposed to professional guidance?
Oh, that's a great question. It because everybody has an opinion, and there is. I mean, the internet can be a dangerous place. We have obviously one of the most popular real estate sites in the world is something called Zillow,
Yep.
and people will look at that, and Zillow provides a tool called a Zestimate, and people can get a Zestimate of the value of their home, and oftentimes it's inflated.
Yep.
And people will be like, "Well, Zillow told me it was worth this," and I often say, I said Zillow for real estate agents is WebMD for doctors.
Yep.
You don't go to WebMD to diagnose that you have malaria, even though you have not been in a third world country your entire life.
Yes.
So, and also the other thing is now scaring me is HGTV. People watch HGTV and go, "Oh, I can do this. I can do what you really, really okay. Come on over and do it." So clearly, Travis, I've watched a number of episodes of Law and Order,
Right.
and I grew up watching LA Law,
Yep.
so I'm pretty sure I don't need a degree from UNLV to be a lawyer. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure I can be Sam Waterston in and be just fine.
Yeah.
So, and I've watched, I mean, I've watched A Few Good Men a number of times. So I can easily be Daniel Caffey
Right.
and be, take on a colonel in a
Yeah.
military. Yeah. Anyway, I'm getting way too off the track. Um, it is. I let them, here, I'll just quickly wrap it up with this. I let them give me their advice and get them their thoughts. And I just kind of smile and go, okay, can I bring you back to reality? And they smile like,
Yeah.
okay, what's the real deal? And I tell them, I'm like, and I give them data and give them stats.
Yeah.
And so I said, this is a lot better information than Zillow. Zillow is a good starting point.
Yep.
But if you really want to know, if you really want to get down to brass tacks, I've got much better programs and experience that will give you much better advice as to what you should do.
Yeah. No, exactly. I always joke with clients is it's like, do you give your doctor this much help when they give you an opinion that you don't agree with? I'd be surprised to hear. And yeah, it's wild when clients don't look at every profession the same way they look at a certain profession. So it's always interesting to see. And yeah, it's the internet is great and bad all at the same time. And
It is.
so
You have the same thing, but
yeah,
it's funny. I don't read a lot of the stuff on the internet. I just go off of what, I mean, I really don't. And I probably for, maybe to my detriment, but at the same time, like, you know what? I just go off my experience. And
yeah,
so, but I let them ask, I'm like, well, what have you read on the internet? Well, I've read blah, blah, blah. And I just kind of go, okay, I get
yeah,
it. And I go, but I respect that. But, if you want to go off that, but honestly, Travis, a lot of people, I do not fight the internet with my clients.
yeah,
They're like, what's the real deal? I'm like, do you really think I'm going to, and I'll leave you with this. The reason I do that is because I'm all about relationship building. I
yeah,
want my have a very long-term relationship with my clients, and they're going to want to refer me. So that's why I let them, I say, hey, I appreciate your suggestions that you learned from the internet, but I
yeah,
really want to, I know this is what's best if you want to take it or leave it. And
yeah.
they appreciate my candidness.
Yeah, no, exactly, because you're looking for what's right for them as opposed to the dollar for you. Um,
Exactly. Yes.
so yeah, I have that conversation more than I'd like to. Um, more than I'd like to admit anyway.
But
So
you and
no,
I,
I
but when it
appreciate
comes
it.
to law, though, we can always debate the best characters on Law and Order, and who
Oh,
were
well,
the
yes.
best attorneys. I mean, that will, was Sam Waterston the best DA New York has ever seen? We'll just that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, exactly. That's part two.
That's part
Um,
two, exactly.
so no, see, well, before just about wrapped up here.
Okay,
But before I let you go, I'd like to do a lightning round. What I always do, just like a yes or no question, and put people on the spot. So,
I love it.
um,
Bring it, bud. Bring it.
yeah, house or condo?
House,
Yeah, morning showings or evening showings?
morning.
Okay, best local spot for a client meeting?
Uh, oh shoot. Two places. Coffee Plantation in Scottsdale,
Yeah,
and another place that uh, I'm a coffee guy. Cartel Roasting in Desert Ridge in North Phoenix. I like
yeah.
those two places.
No, Cartel's coffee is great. So is Plantation.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm a big. I have had a number of deals, met a number of clients at Coffee Plantation. It's great. I love I like to support the local.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Oh, absolutely. No, same. What's a most underrated feature buyers overlook?
Oh man. Uh, um, boy, underrated feature. I know it's this lightning round.
That's okay.
I would say, you know what? I would say is when they see a house that's not totally done up and they think that it just wouldn't work. I say, look, you're going to be in this house long term. You can remodel over time.
Yeah.
And so you do not have to do the remodeling all at once, remodel over time, but the basics are here. Everything fixed other than the cabinets that need to be painted and you need new countertops. If I can get my clients past that and they can remodel over time economically, then yeah, that's the most, as opposed to when they walk in and go, oh, this is going to be a project. I'm like, no, it's not. And here's why.
Yep.
Then that they're like, oh, okay. But that's the most underrated. When they see a house that needs done up, they think it's the end of the world, but actually it's actually a better situation than they
Yeah.
think.
No, that's great. No, good answer. And one last thing before we'll say goodbye is if you weren't in real estate, what would you be doing right now?
Oh my gosh. This is horrible. You know what? I in the last 2 years, if I had a dream, I would go be an actor.
Yeah.
I would want to go be an actor. I don't know why, but I have had this thing. Well, I performed stand up comedy a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And so I'm thinking about doing that again. But yeah, I to go give acting a try. If I had enough money in the bank to go out on auditions and didn't have to work in a restaurant and could just work until I got my first role, I would love to try to be on in a movie and to see if I can do it. So, because I
That's
really
amazing.
think, I don't think Brad Pitt holds a candle to me. I really don't. So
No, well, thank you so much, Steve. Well, Steve, thank you so much for sharing your insight and helping break down what can be a confusing and high stakes process for so many people in the Valley. To our listeners, if you're thinking of buying, selling, or just trying to understand where the market is headed, Steve's perspective is a valuable one. Remember, if you've been in an accident, visit azvalleyinjurylaw.com or find us on Instagram at Valley Injury Law. You can also find our guest Steve on Instagram at Steve Russell, Arizona. So be sure to like, subscribe, leave a review if you enjoyed today's episode. We appreciate you all joining us on the Valley's Voice.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.